welcome to all of you. We are so pleased that you have found us this evening, once again, here in the back room, where co-host Karen Dion and I bring you a panel of absolutely marvelous authors. And we are so pleased with tonight's lineup and with so many of you who are attending tonight. Thank you. We are always delighted now into our third year of the back room to have you join us these Sunday evenings. Quickly, I'm your host for the evening. I'm Hank Philippi Ryan, the USA Today bestselling author of 14 going on 15 novels of suspense. My current book is The House Guest, which is sort of Gaslight meets Thelma and Louise. And my new book comes out in February called One Wrong Word. And we will hear more about that when the time comes. I've also won 37 Emmys for investigative reporting here in Boston on Channel 7 TV and still on the air here in Boston, and just signed a contract to write 2 more books. So that is my life. First tonight, we have Don Bentley. Hi, Don. The New York Times bestselling author of the Matt Drake series and 3 Tom Clancy Jack Ryan Jr. novels. Don spent a decade as an Army Apache helicopter pilot, and while deployed in Afghanistan, was awarded the Bronze Star Medal and the Air Medal with V device for valor. Following his time in the military, Don worked as an FBI special agent focusing on foreign intelligence and counterintelligence, and was a special weapons and tactics SWAT team member. Don lives with his family in Austin, Texas. His newest book is Forgotten War, which Brad Thor, hold up that book, hold up the book, okay. I'm going to ask all the authors, to hold up their books, because we want you to see those covers, because Karen and I really hope that you will buy all of these authors' books, so we want you to see those covers. So we're asking the authors to hold them up. Anyway, Brad Thor called Forgotten War a fascinating action-packed thriller from one of our genre's most talented authors. So welcome, Don. Welcome tonight.
Thank you so much.
Tosca Lee is our next author. Tosca Lee is the New York Times bestselling author of 12 novels, including The Long March Home, which came out May 2023 with Marcus Brotherton. Her work, hold up that book. Okay, that's so beautiful. Her work has been translated into 17 languages and optioned for TV and film. She is the recipient of multiple awards, including 2 International Book Awards. Lee earned her bachelor's degree in English from Smith College. She also studied at Oxford University. A former first runner-up to Mrs. United States, she lives in Nebraska with her husband and 2 of 4 children still at home. Welcome, Tosca. And that's your little writing nook that you're in now, right?
I'm in my writing nook at the farm where I live. So my husband's a farmer, and coming to you live from the farm tonight.
I love that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kathy Reichs, alphabetically, earned a PhD in biological anthropology from Northwestern University and is one of the very few practitioners ever certified by the American Board of Forensic Anthropology. She has worked with the FBI, the United Nations, the Defense POWMIA Accounting Agency, and other organizations. Her first novel, Deja Dead, became a New York Times bestseller. 22 Temperance Brennan books followed, all international bestsellers. The Fox TV series Bones was based on Dr. Reichs' books and her life. She worked as a producer and writer on the program. Kathy, a native of Chicago, now divides her time between Charlotte, North Carolina, and Charleston, South Carolina. And where are you tonight, Kathy?
I am in Charlotte tonight, in what's left of my house. I foolishly, during book release time, undertook or began renovating the whole first floor. So I have no kitchen. Anyway, that's where I am.
Because you don't have enough to do.
Yes, yes.
Just decided to, okay. Yeah. Things not to do on book tour.
Yes.
Well, thank you for fitting us in tonight, Kathy, and congratulations on your wonderful book.
Thank you.
Polly Stewart, welcome, Polly. Polly is the debut author of The Good Ones. Hold up that book. Thank you. Got to hold up the book. Out now from Harper Books and Little Brown UK. Her nonfiction has appeared in the New York Times and Poets and Writers, and she writes a monthly column for Crime Reads. She's been a fan of mysteries since her middle school years, she says, and finally realized about 5 years ago that this was her genre. The Good Ones is a story of the disappearance of a young wife and mother in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, and her novel in progress is also a mystery thriller. She lives in Lexington, Virginia. Welcome, Polly.
Thank you, Hank.
Has it been wonderful putting out your debut novel?
It's been so fun. Yeah, this is my very last event, and it's just been a blast, a whirlwind.
Good. Well, we'll hope we'll have a great celebration for you this evening. Congratulations on your success. We will start as always, with our back room 20 questions. They're really 12 questions because 20 would be too many, but we'll have 20 questions, and I'll ask you the questions in the order that I see you on camera. And we'll start with Tosca. And make sure you unmute, Tosca. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Tosca, describe one thing on your desk.
Oh, I can show it to you even. It is a, what do you call this? A decanter with a crystal skull top, and it happens to have scotch in it. So just in case.
Don is nodding very approvingly of that whole thing. Where did you get the skull? And is that inspiration to you?
TJ Maxx. I was shopping with one of my twins who are almost 19, and he said, Tosca, that looks like you. And I said, my stepson, and that's why he calls me Tosca. And I said, all right, well, then I better buy it. So
I think there's a lot to unpack, and that a skull full of scotch looks like you, but we'll just go on. We'll just go on to Polly. Polly, do you listen to music when you're writing?
I don't. I think I did back in high school when I started writing, but now that sounds very distracting to me. I like complete quiet.
Complete quiet. You know, it's interesting because can you write in a coffee shop? Can you write on an airplane?
I do love a coffee shop, but yeah, my favorite, I get up very early so I can write when there's no noise in my house, because I am kind of picky about that element of the experience.
Well, something certainly worked. Thank you. Kathy, what was your very first job?
Oh, I guess babysitting, making 25 cents an hour or something like that, taking care of the neighbor's kids.
I know we can all figure out how old everyone is. I made 25 cents an hour as well, because I think it's like $35 an hour.
Yeah, I know. I may go back into that.
Exactly. Yeah, this writing thing doesn't turn out. Did you enjoy it?
Did I enjoy babysitting? I enjoyed the income. Yeah, it was okay. It was fun with the kids, but I was always happy to deliver them back home when I would push them around in a stroller with the baby in the stroller and his older brother hanging on the side of the stroller, and I would walk them around for 2 hours.
Exercise, and then you get to give the kids back. So
there you go.
Don, make sure you unmute. What was your first car?
So my dad bought this 79 Mazda GLC. It was pretty much a work of art. And by the time it got to me, you could actually see the road through one of the floorboards, and it was magnificent. That is exactly why my wife married me, was that car.
Now, there's more to the story than that. So did she love it? What did you want you to get a new car?
When I picked her up the first time, she walked past it because she couldn't imagine that we were actually going to go out in that car. So maybe she married me in spite of the car, might be a better way of phrasing it.
Right. Or she liked you so much she'd put up with the car.
I'll go with that too. Yeah.
That's a good story. Tosca, did you have a good time in high school?
I did, it's funny now that I'm 50 something, I look back on my high school years with a lot of fondness, more fondness than I thought that I would. And I'm very nostalgic for high school, because also it was the 80s and we had such good music too. So I'm very nostalgic for high school.
And people are Casey's putting in the comments, my first car was a 56 Ford pickup, and you could see the road in a few spots. You guys are teammates. We'll talk about that. Yeah, high school is kind of a crucible, I've got to say, better in the rear view, got to tell you. Polly, okay, this is a hard one. Pizza or candy?
Candy, chocolate. All my kids would disagree with me, but that's good because I get the pick of the Halloween candy. I'm maybe one who likes chocolate.
So do you go through the Halloween candy first? What do you throw out?
Oh, I just leave the hard candy to them and to my husband, and I take all the little mini Snickers.
Snickers. I agree with you about the Snickers. Kathy, I don't know, this is hard. What is your favorite sandwich?
My favorite sandwich? I guess I'm a ham and cheese girl. I like ham and cheese with mustard and maybe pickles, maybe lettuce, maybe throw in a tomato.
You know, some people put mayonnaise on ham. Would you do that?
I might, yeah, I'll admit I might do that.
Mayonnaise is pretty good. Can't hurt.
Because the cheese justifies it.
The cheese justifies the
Justifies the mayo, yeah.
That's great. There's a mantra for us all. Don, do you remember what was your favorite book as a child?
Yeah, I do. So there's this fantastic book called My Side of the Mountain that is about a kid who runs away to the mountains and tames a falcon. And it was fascinating. The author was incredible, and she would draw her father was a naturalist. And so she had done some of this as a kid. And so in the book, there would be pictures of like how to make different snares and and I never got brave enough to quite run to the mountains, but I tried the woods in my backyard several times.
It's so interesting. I'm watching the people on the gallery view at the top, and so many of the attendees are nodding like, oh, yes, I love that book. Isn't that so interesting? So not only do we want you to look at these authors' books, but we want to hear what they're reading as well. So Tosca, what book are you recommending?
All right, so I recently finished this an audiobook, and this is Drowning by TJ Newman, who also wrote Falling. And this is another airplane story. I would not recommend reading it on an airplane, neither one probably. It's been described as Apollo 13, but as a plane underwater, and that's kind of what it is. And so it's a high stakes thriller about survival for a plane underwater. So yeah, I was glued to my AirPods the whole time.
It is absolutely unputdownable, this book. And you'll note that under drowning on the title, it says the rescue of flight, whatever it is.
Yes.
Tell you what happens, but it is definitely a page turner. Really, really, really good pick. Love TJ Newman. Polly, what book are you suggesting?
I picked The Tip Line by Vanessa Cutie, and I do not have it because I loaned it to my mom and she took it to Maine. So I'm sorry about that. But
we have a graphic of it, so no problem.
It's a story of a young woman who goes to work for a tip line in Suffolk County, New York, which a lot of people might know is the site of the Gilgo Beach murders. And it's kind of about that case and how it's being investigated around her as she's working on this tip line. So I've been thinking about it a lot recently because, as a lot of us know, that case was solved recently. The killer was identified. But I think it's just my favorite kind of crime novel because it has just such depth of characterization and so many interesting things going on. So even though you're compelled by the case itself, you're also really deeply invested in the lives of the characters.
Wonderful choice. I can't wait to read that. And you all who are listening know that we will put up the names and authors of these novels, and we will make that be easier for you. We'll put that in the chat as soon as they're finished with their suggestions. Kathy, what book are you recommending?
I'm recommending one of my all-time favorites, which I go to when I really need to relax and just have some fun. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I believe there are now 5 books in the trilogy. And it just follows Arthur Dent, this character, around the galaxy, and having it's just hilarious, dry British humor. And it's literally laugh out loud for me. So
I agree. Literally laugh out loud. Don't panic. I had a button that said, don't
panic. Yes.
I used to wear all the time, and we won't tell what the secret of the universe is.
Okay.
People can just read this themselves. That's a great, great call. Don, what book are you recommending?
Yep. So I've got Dead Drop, and that is by M.P. Woodward. And he is Mike Woodward. He's a fantastic writer. He's a former naval intelligence officer. And so this is very much an espionage book. And he and I share the same editor. We both have Tom Colgan. And so when his first book came out, which was called The Handler, Tom called me up and he said, I hate to do this to you, but can you squeeze in time for a blurb? And usually you get weeks or months. And I made the mistake of saying, sure, when do you need it? And he said, in 2 days. And I'm like, there is no way I'm going to read this book in 2 days. And The Handler was fantastic. He does such a good job. And I was so excited to get his debut to see what he did with the characters. And Dead Drop is amazing. So if you like espionage, military thriller books, Dead Drop is fantastic.
Wasn't that fun? We hope you enjoyed that taste of what a backroom session is like. But more fun comes immediately afterward. That's when the audience is broken up into 4 breakout rooms, and each author in turn visits each room. We'd love to show you what a breakout session is like, because those relaxed face-to-face conversations between best-selling authors and readers are the hallmark of backroom events. But breakout sessions are never recorded, because what's said in the back room stays in the back room.